Hey guys, Rick with Let's Level Up, and today we're going to be talking about a game that is very nostalgic for me. It reminds me of when I first started gaming, playing all those 8-bit systems back in the day. For those of you familiar with the tabletop universe, you may already know what I'm talking about. This game is unique because it allows us to take the role of the big bad boss at the end of a dungeon. And not only that, but we get to take and squish all the tiny heroes who want to take our treasure. The objective is to be the best boss at the table. Everybody else is a boss and they're building dungeons just like we are. Can we do it better than them? That's the question. The game I'm talking about is Boss Monster, and we're also going to be taking a look at its expansion, Tools of a Hero Kind. Tools of a Hero Kind introduce items to the game. Now, Boss Monster is pretty simply played. It has very basic mechanics, and it's essentially a race to see who can get 10 souls before everyone else. Now, if we mess up and acquire 5 wounds, we are out of the game. Essentially, we're going to build a 5-room dungeon and advance it to the point, and hopefully entice heroes to come and try to raid our dungeon, so that way we can prey upon them and take their souls. It sounds kind of morbid, but it really has a lot of really cool throwback ideas and, again, nostalgic references that just get me thinking about the better days. Overall, Boss Monster is a lot of fun. It is a pretty simple game, but I do like how Tools of a Hero Kind have added the items into kind of giving the heroes a little bit more of a personality than they had before. Follow us to the table. We're going to take a look at Boss Monster and how to play it, and also show you what is new with the items of Tools of a Hero Kind. Hope you guys like this. Let's check it out. Boss Monster is a card game for 2 to 4 players, and it's designed by Brotherwise Games. Essentially, it's a nostalgic throwback to all of the old 8-bit games that I played as a kid. It has a lot of really cool references and jokes that allude to some really famous games in the past. All in all, I like Boss Monster a lot. I think the game itself is fun. My one complaint is that the heroes were a bit lacking, so to speak. They're essentially, heroes are victory points, right? Because we're playing the boss at the end of a dungeon, and our job is to kill the heroes, get their souls, and be the first person to hit 10 souls. The heroes essentially are marked as mages and clerics and rogues and warriors and fighters and all that. And they will essentially go to whoever dungeon has the most treasure that they'd be interested in, and that's where it stops. What's great about Heroes of the Hero Kind is it introduces items to the game, and these items allow us to actually add a little bit more flavor to the experience. So before we get started into Heroes of Hero Kind, let's just briefly discuss how the game is played. First and foremost, you're going to be given a boss from the boss deck. I have been given Seducia, and she is 600 experience points, and you basically decide your play order based on the number of experience. So whoever has the highest goes first, second highest goes next, third, and then finally fourth. You get the picture. Once you are the first time you complete a 5-room dungeon, you level up. And each boss has their own level up ability. For instance, Seducia's is that she can search through town or the hero deck, choose a hero, and put it at the entrance to my dungeon. Which essentially, once the hero goes at the entrance of the dungeon, during their adventuring phase, they're going to start trying to go through the rooms of the dungeon, and then each room is going to be designed, hopefully, to hurt the hero quite a bit. If the hero makes it to the boss and they're still alive, that hero will wound the boss. If that boss has 5 wounds, he is out of the game. You will also have, in the additions to rooms that you can build under your dungeon, you will have spells that you can do. And spells can be done in either of the 2 phases, both the build or the adventure phase, or both, depending on the symbol. And in the bottom left corner of the spell, you'll have either a hammer or an axe. Lets you know what phase it belongs in. And spells are kind of one-shot items that allow you to do something. And it generally allows you to kind of hey, gotcha, this hero's not going to you, it's going to me. And then somebody may play a spell on top of that. It's like, well, that hero's going to you, but it's immediately going to you and going to damage you. That kind of thing. So there's a lot going on in this game. And then with 4 players, it can get pretty intense and pretty chaotic here, which I like with that. So to start things out, you're going to be dealt 5 rooms, or rather randomly, you're going to be dealt a boss. You're going to be dealt 5 rooms and 2 spells. And then you're going to take a look at your hand and then discard 2 spells. Now, let's take a look at the hand that I've been given, starting with my rooms. Okay, so here are the 5 rooms I've been given. The first one is the monstrous moment, and if this symbol doesn't mean something to you, I don't know what to say. I'm just disappointed. This is iconic where I come from. This is going to be a trap room designated by this symbol here. It's going to deal 1 damage, and it's going to have treasure of an Ankh and a sword that will attract either a cleric or a fighter to us. And again, whoever has the highest treasure value when that hero comes out, that the hero is seeking, they'll go to that dungeon. It says, when you build this room, choose 1 monster room from the discard pile and put it into your hand. This is a monster room. This is a Spectre's Sanctum. This deals 2 damage and has a 1 Ankh treasure. It says when you build this room, choose an opponent. That opponent discards a random spell. This is the Dark Altar. This is another trap room. It says destroy this room. Choose 1 card from the discard pile and put it into your hand. This has 2 Ankhs and 1 damage. This is the Construction Zone. It says this is a trap room. Deals 1 damage, has a fighter symbol and a thief symbol. It says when you build this room, you may immediately build an additional room. Very cool. And then finally is the Succubus Spa. It says once per turn, if the hero dies in this room, choose an opponent. Take a random room or spell card from that opponent's hand. Deals 1 damage and 1 Ankh. So I'm going to go ahead and we have to choose 2 to get rid of between that and our spells, but I'm going to keep our spells. I'm going to get rid of the Spa, and I'm also going to get rid of the Dark Altar. And then we'll put these down, and then we'll just put those in the discard pile like that for now. Now let's take a look at our 2 spells that we have. The first thing is Kobold Strike. This is during the build phase, and when we play this, it says no rooms can be built this turn. Any face-down rooms are returned to its owner's hand. So when you go to build a room, you're essentially going to take it, again, starting with the person with the highest, with the highest amount of experience, and they're going to take a room, such as our Construction Zone, and they're going to put it face down to the leftmost space. So we're going to build out 5 rooms potentially from here. We're also going to have a section onto the right of our boss where we collect our victory points, which are our souls and the wounds. Again, 10 victory points to win, 5 wounds to get you out of the game. So Kobold Strike would have essentially allow us to play this and then get rid of anybody from building a room on this turn. The next spell that we have is going to be called Fear, and Fear is an adventure spell, and Fear says choose a hero in any dungeon and put it back in town. So this is kind of a spell that you could do to deny somebody from getting those souls, at least delay it for a while. So there's our hand, and we have our opening kind of room played out. So the first thing that we're going to do in our turn is we're going to play an item face up, and it's going to go into town. Now that item is going to lock onto the first hero that meets its treasure type, and essentially those items will just keep accumulating over time. You're going to draw 1 item for 2 and 3 players, and then 2 items for 4 players. So kind of is going to adjust for the amount of heroes that are coming out. So let's go through and let's look at some of the heroes really quick. First thing you're going to notice is that the heroes, there's basic heroes and there are also epic heroes with the yellow backs. The epic heroes come out later in the game and are quite a bit stronger. So the first hero we have here is the Fool. Now the Fool
is really looking for any treasure, doesn't care. He's going to have 2 health. It says the fool is lured to the dungeon with the player with the fewest souls. And he's going to give somebody 1 soul here on the back. He'll also give them 1 wound if they can't take him out. The thief is looking for specifically the money bags here. The thief says his name Sir Digby Apple, ace detective. He battles to keep the coffers filling, to keep his partners preening, and to send a needless message of power to all those unwilling. It's a little bit hard to read from where I'm at right now. He has 8 hit points and is going to deal 1 wound if he makes it to us. And you can see all of these basic heroes are going to give us 1 soul. Here's another thief, and really the only thing that's a difference with these thieves is the flavor text here. And again, it kind of leaves you wanting for a little bit more. So we have thieves and mages and fighters and clerics, and this needs to be shuffled quite a bit. We'll give those a good shuffle. That's not a good shuffle, by the way. We also have their epic hero counterparts, which are worth 2 souls. And these, again, are going to be thieves and mages and fighters and clerics, but they're going to be significantly stronger and deal an additional wound. So let's look at some of the things that tools of the hero kind, which again, if you're a fan of Boss Monster, you're going to definitely want to pick up this expansion. It is very cheap and it gives you quite a bit of more, again, personality is what I've been saying to those heroes. So let's just look at a few of these. Ring of Invisibility. It's going to give the hero to cancel a spell played during your adventure phase. And it has, when this hero is in your dungeon, at the entrance of your dungeon, you may not play spells. And he's going to go really to anybody. Extra life. This is going to give a cleric an extra life. It says, this turn you cannot lose due to wounds. And it says, if the hero would be killed, it returns to town instead. So this is interesting. The Holy Hand Grenade. The Monty Python reference there. You gotta love that. Each of your opponents must discard 1 room card at random. And it says, if the hero survives your dungeon, you must discard 2 room cards at random. So this effect's going to trigger when the hero dies, and this effect is going to happen if they make it to you. And that's not necessarily true. This effect will happen sometime, either whenever they first get to the dungeon, or if they escape. It'll say in the text there. It says destroy. The Inquisitor's robe. Choose and destroy in an advanced room in any dungeon, and then it says destroy the first advanced room that this hero survives. So those are some of the cleric spells. Here's a Goblin Suit for the fighters. It says until the end of the turn, give all of your ordinary monster rooms +1 damage. And then it also says the hero takes no damage from ordinary monster rooms. And again, you can have multiple heroes trying to go into your dungeon at the same time, which could be very interesting. See, we got the Oversized Sword, Vorpal Blade, the Anti-Magic Lizard, an Ice Rod, a Magic Mirror, the Necronomicon. Here we have some mage things, the Bag of Holding, a cheat code, 10-foot pole, the bomb, and then some other things like the Boots of Jumping and whatnot. So there's a lot of cool flavor that you get from the Tools of the Hero kind expansion that come with these items. Again, essentially, we're going to be pulling these heroes out, and we'll have 1 item available. If the item is not able to be equipped by one of these things, it'll just stay here until we have a hero that is. We will reveal our bases and kind of build out. So when I build the construction zone, it says that I'm going to build an additional room at this time. So I take another room from my play space. Such as the Spectre Sanctum, and force an opponent to discard some cards. And again, once I get to 5 rooms, my boss is going to level up, and then their ability will proc. It's only going to happen 1 time in the game. And then, yeah, we're going to play until we have 10 wounds, or sorry, 5 wounds or 10 souls. And you're going to keep going through that. So you go through essentially the hero phase, there's a build phase, there is an adventure phase, and, a lure phase, and then an adventure phase. and you're just going to keep playing until you have the souls acquired. This is a fast-paced game. It's really easy to learn. It's fun, but I really recommend that if you're interested in getting Boss Monster, that you pick up Tools of a Hero Kind as well, because it really does add and make the game, I think, that much more worth it. So I hope you guys like this. Please follow us for our afterthoughts.
Well, that's it for Boss Monster. As you can see, it's a pretty simple game to play. Now, it's one of these games that doesn't take a whole lot of time. It's for 2 to 4 players, and it's one that we can knock out over a lunch period or even play before dinner or after dinner or something like that. This is a game, I wouldn't quite call it a filler game because it does have a lot of strategic opportunities, but it's a nice game. I think overall it's one that if you're in your late 20s like I am, I think you may get a lot of really cool references in this. That'll be a lot of fun for you. Overall, I think Boss Monster is fun, and at the end of the day, that's what matters in games. I think the experience can be a bit vanilla if you just have the core set, but Tools of a Hero Kind actually helps you balance that out and again bring some of that personality back to the heroes, which I think they were lacking in before. Really, the only distinguishing thing before the heroes in the base set is their treasure type. So a thief would go after the gold sacks, and the mages would go after the spell tomes, and that's how you knew what dungeon they were going to try to go to. Well, when they have a magical item or a potion of healing or something like that, it makes them a little bit more formidable and gives them a little bit more, again, personality. I really love the bosses in this game, man. There's so many awesome references that I just can't get enough of. If I had to rate this on a 10 scale, I think I'd give the base set a 6 point. No, that's too low. 7.0 out of 10. And then with Tools of a Hero Kind, I'd bump it up to an 8. So I think it's definitely one that if you're a fan of the old NES style games, if you're a fan of card games or even racing or even games where you have to race to a finish, Boss Monster may be the one for you. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up here on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow us on all of our social media sites. That's Twitter and Facebook and Google Plus and all that. You know what? Follow us on MySpace as well, because you never know when we're popping up there. Just kidding. We don't have one of those. All of our information can be found on letslevelup.net. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video again. And as always, game on.